We're always looking for ways to get a better handle on what's coming right. And when it comes to something as fundamental as the weather, even small improvements in forecasting can have, a massive impact on our lives. So imagine a system that could give us highly accurate weather predictions, not just a few days out, but up to 2 weeks in advance.
It could do it faster than you can finish your morning coffee.
Exactly. And that's the disruptive potential of Google's GenCast, and that's what we're diving deep into today.
What's fascinating about GenCast is this isn't some theoretical future technology. This AI-powered weather model from Google DeepMind is a reality right now, prompting us to really rethink how we approach weather prediction.
It's a significant departure from the methods we've relied on for decades.
That's right.
So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack what makes GenCast tick. We'll explore its core functionality, understand these innovative techniques it employs, and crucially figure out why this development is making waves in the world of meteorology.
We'll also discuss, its place alongside more traditional forecasting methods.
Yep.
Ready to get into the details.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
What exactly is GenCast?
Yeah.
We know it's an AI-driven weather forecasting system from Google DeepMind, but what does that actually mean in practice, especially when we compare it to how weather has traditionally been predicted?
Yeah, so the fundamental difference lies in its approach.
Okay.
Traditional numerical weather prediction relies on solving these complex partial differential equations that describe atmospheric dynamics and thermodynamics.
Oh, wow.
Things like the Navier-Stokes equations for fluid flow.
Right.
These models simulate the behavior of the atmosphere based on the laws of physics, and that requires immense computational power.
I see.
GenCast, on the other hand, takes a fundamentally different route.
Okay.
It learns patterns directly from an enormous data set. We're talking about 40 years worth of historical weather information.
30 years.
Encompassing vast amounts of surface observations, satellite data, and atmospheric measurements.
That's a phenomenal amount of data to learn from.
It is.
So instead of these incredibly complex physics calculations every single time, GenCast is essentially saying, I've seen weather evolve in these ways over the past 4 decades. And based on the current conditions, here's what's most likely to happen next.
Precisely.
Wow.
And this learning-based approach allows it to achieve a remarkable speed.
Okay.
GenCast can generate a forecast for the next 15 days in roughly 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Think about that for a second.
It's amazing.
Traditional models, even running on the world's most powerful supercomputers with their parallel processing capabilities, can take hours to produce a similar forecast.
That's right.
So the sheer speed of GenCast is a game changer.
Absolutely.
Now let's unpack the ingenious method it uses to achieve this, which, as you rightly point out, goes far beyond simply looking at historical weather maps. How does it actually learn from all that data to make these rapid predictions?
It employs a sophisticated technique called diffusion modeling.
Diffusion modeling.
You might have encountered this concept in the realm of AI image generation.
Okay, yeah.
Think about how an AI can take a completely random, noisy image and through a step-by-step process, refine it into a coherent picture.
Right.
GenCast applies a similar logic to weather forecasting.
Okay, I think I'm following.
Good.
It's like starting with a blurry picture of the future weather and progressively sharpening it based on the weather patterns it has learned from the past.
Yeah.
The noise would be the initial uncertainty in the forecast, and the AI gradually refines it.
That's an excellent way to visualize it.
Okay.
GenCast takes the current weather conditions as its starting point, and through this diffusion process, guided by the statistical relationships it has identified within that massive historical data set, it generates a range of plausible future weather scenarios.
So it's identifying correlations and probabilities rather than explicitly modeling the underlying physical laws in the same way a traditional model does. That's a really interesting distinction.
It is, and this approach offers several key advantages. Beyond the remarkable speed we've already discussed, it's also significantly more energy efficient than running those complex simulations on massive supercomputing infrastructure.
Right.
Plus, because it's continuously learning from new weather data as it becomes available, its predictive capabilities have the potential to continuously improve and adapt over time.
You mentioned it generates not just one forecast, but multiple scenarios. Why is that significant?
This is a crucial advantage for meteorologists and for anyone who relies on weather information.
Okay.
Instead of a single deterministic forecast, GenCast produces over 50 different possible weather outcomes for a given time frame, each with an associated probability.
Wow.
This allows for a much richer understanding of the potential range of future conditions and provides valuable insight into the level of uncertainty inherent in the forecast.
So it's not just telling you what will happen, but also highlighting what could happen and how likely those different scenarios are.
Exactly.
So this goes way beyond just whether or not you should pack an umbrella next Tuesday. This sounds like it has some really significant real-world implications, especially when we think about high-impact weather events,
Absolutely. This is where the potential of GenCast becomes truly compelling.
like the path and intensity of hurricanes or cyclones.
Precisely.
Okay.
If we can predict the trajectory and potential strength of these storms with greater lead time and accuracy,
Yeah.
governments, disaster response agencies, and individuals can make more informed decisions about evacuations, resource allocation, and preparedness measures.
This increased lead time could have a profound impact on minimizing property damage and, most importantly, saving lives in vulnerable communities.
That's right.
That's a really powerful thought.
It is.
Knowing even a day or two further in advance with a higher degree of confidence where a major storm is likely to make landfall could provide that crucial extra time to get people out of harm's way. And the energy efficiency aspect you mentioned earlier, in a world increasingly focused on sustainability and reducing our carbon footprint, that's a significant bonus, especially for something like climate research, which often requires, immense computational resources.
Absolutely. Having access to such a powerful yet relatively efficient forecasting tool could also accelerate our understanding of longer-term climate patterns and the impact of various environmental factors on our weather systems.
This raises an important question, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With AI becoming this capable in a field so reliant on scientific expertise, what does it mean for the role of human meteorologists?
Right.
Is GenCast going to make their jobs obsolete?
That's a great question, and the short answer is no.
Okay.
GenCast is not intended to replace meteorologists.
Okay.
While its accuracy in short to medium-term forecasting is undeniably impressive, it's crucial to remember that AI, even one as sophisticated as GenCast, is still in a learning phase.
So we're not about to see weather forecast centers run entirely by algorithms just yet.
Exactly. Traditional numerical weather prediction models built upon the fundamental laws of physics remain absolutely vital for understanding the underlying physical mechanisms that drive our climate system and for making projections about long-term climate change. GenCast is exceptional at identifying patterns and making shorter-term predictions based on those patterns. But it doesn't necessarily provide the same level of mechanistic understanding of atmospheric processes.
So it's more of a complementary tool then.
Yeah.
Something that augments the capabilities of human meteorologists rather than replacing them entirely.
Right.
Like a superpowered assistant in the weather center.
That's a perfect analogy.
Okay.
Think of GenCast as an incredibly powerful weather assistant that can rapidly analyze vast amounts of data and generate a range of potential forecasts with associated probabilities.
Okay.
However, the expertise of human meteorologists is still absolutely essential for interpreting these AI-generated forecasts. For understanding the nuances of specific weather events that might fall outside of historical patterns, and for effectively communicating this complex information to the public in a way that is clear, concise, and actionable.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The AI provides the raw analytical power and speed, but the human expert provides that crucial insight, interpretation, and the ability to handle novel situations.
Yeah.
Now, given that this technology is still relatively new,
Yeah.
are there any limitations or challenges that we should be aware of?
Yes. Like any technology, GenCast has its limitations.
Right.
One key challenge that has been observed is that it can occasionally struggle with forecasting the precise intensity of extreme weather events.
Oh, really?
For example, while it might accurately predict the arrival of a major typhoon, pinning down the exact peak wind speeds or the maximum temperature during a heat wave can still be tricky.
So while it might give us a good heads up that a major storm is coming, accurately predicting just how strong it will be at its peak can still be a hurdle.
That's a fair assessment based on current observations.
Okay.
However, it's really important to emphasize that Google is actively working on continuously refining the GenCast model,
Right.
incorporating new data and improving its accuracy, particularly in these more challenging areas of extreme weather forecasting.
And when we look to the future, the potential for further advancements is truly exciting.
I agree.
What kind of advancements are we talking about? Could we see even longer range predictions with this type of AI in the future.
That is certainly a strong possibility as AI models become even more sophisticated as we continue to gather increasingly comprehensive and high-resolution weather data. And as we refine our understanding of the underlying drivers of weather patterns,
Uh-huh.
we might very well see the ability to accurately predict weather patterns weeks or even perhaps months in advance.
Wow.
This kind of long-range forecasting could have profound implications for a wide range of sectors,
Right.
including agriculture, water resource management, energy production, and many others.
The thought of being able to reliably predict weather months out is pretty incredible to contemplate.
It is.
So to bring it all together, it sounds like GenCast represents a really significant and potentially transformative step forward in how we approach weather forecasting.
Absolutely. Its unprecedented speed, its ability to learn intricate patterns from vital data sets, and its capability to provide multiple potential scenarios mark a real paradigm shift in meteorological technology.
Mm-hmm.
It has the potential to revolutionize not just our day-to-day weather forecast,
Right.
but also our capacity to prepare for and effectively respond to severe weather events, ultimately enhancing safety and resilience.
So this Google AI isn't just a minor upgrade to existing forecasting tools.
Right.
It's a fundamental change in the underlying technology and approach to understanding our atmosphere and predicting its behavior.
I agree.
It's faster, offers a different kind of insight based on historical patterns, and provides a probabilistic view of the future weather.
Precisely. And while it's not poised to replace the critical role of human meteorologists, it offers them a remarkably powerful new tool that can significantly augment their expertise, allowing for a deeper and more nuanced understanding of our complex and dynamic weather systems.
So as you're processing all of this,
Yeah.
consider this. We're seeing this kind of AI-driven disruption in a field as well-established and scientifically rigorous as meteorology.
Right.
Where else might we see similar leaps forward as AI becomes more sophisticated at identifying complex patterns in vast data sets?
Yeah.
And how do we, as a society, best leverage these powerful new tools while still recognizing and valuing the indispensable contributions of human expertise?
It's a big question.
It's definitely something to think about long after a deep dive concludes.
Indeed, it really prompts us to reflect on the evolving relationship between human intelligence and artificial intelligence across a multitude of domains, and the exciting possibilities and potential challenges that lie ahead.
Absolutely fascinating. Until next time.
See you then.